the Jews want you to think that they don't drink Christian blood. This does leave us with a lot of questions. What will the fallout be? I'm concerned. I definitely am concerned, but I think that for people to go out and say World War III is starting is irresponsible. And you do see a lot of people on both the left and the right. At a certain point, it's just about clicks. You're not going to get through the algorithm if you say, well, you know what, hold on a second. There was a lot of warning beforehand. It seems like a lot of people knew about this. If they wanted to cause more damage, they could have. This seems like a little bit of saber rattling. Israel does have the right to defend itself. We have to be concerned about these different alliances. That doesn't get you a lot of clicks. What does is World War III is about to pop off.
Great. Now I have to change the title of my first video today.
I apologize.
You shamed me into it.
I forgot. Did
it's
you say
all caps, too.
Is it all caps?
Yeah.
Well, World War III has to be caps, but is the rest caps?
Everything's
That was a creative decision on your part.
I also scream the entire video.
Do you?
Yeah. It's now I have to. People knocking on my door at the hotel because they thought, what's happening.
Yeah.
Now I have to put that whole.
Well,
video.
also I posted your hotel address online, everywhere.
Well, look,
everyone knows. I said there was a cabana party at your hotel.
Backfire because they sent a bunch of pizzas. I just ate them.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't know if you know that, but that poison in those pizzas, it has a fuse. So good luck tomorrow. We're going to bring in. Actually, now you guys love him. He's a ladies love him. So we'll take the chat. The ladies, keep it appropriate in the chat. It's time to bring out our international specialist, Lane Ginger Snap. All right, Ginger Snap, grab the mic. There you go. How you doing, sir?
Good to be here. Circumstances considered.
Yeah. What does that mean, sir?
Well, I'd rather there not be a missile barrage aimed at Israel, but
yeah,
you win some, you lose some.
In this case, it doesn't seem like anybody's winning anything.
No,
Iran's definitely losing, I think.
I think they will be losing.
I think they will be losing. At this point, I'd say it's kind of a wash. It's kind of a scratch. Oh, I'm going to move.
That's embarrassing, though, to launch that many punches and miss.
Yeah, it is. Well, let me ask you this, Lane. Why do you think Iran gave this kind of advanced warning before this?
Well, I think it's what you and I were talking about before, is that they feel the need after Israel bombed the consulate in Damascus and killed all the IRGC members. They have to do something to look tough for their proxies, for Hezbollah, to the revolutionary kind of Islamic world that they're supporting. If they do nothing, well, they all of a sudden lose a lot of credibility. But at the same time, I think they wanted to couch it and make sure that nobody actually got killed to elicit sort of that fire and fury response, so to say.
Well, yeah, because they also sent slow-moving drones.
Yeah.
Like, these are not their only options.
No, if you're going from Tehran to Jerusalem, it's like 6 hours. It's hours worth of prep time, and they're, very low-tech sort of devices that they were using too. I mean, they sent a couple ballistics and cruise missiles too, but they had a lot more to offer if they wanted to use that tactic.
Well, so let me ask you, because you said that you thought that maybe you and I disagree on this a little bit, but what is your position on this? We know what the social media position is.
Yeah.
World War III, absolutely, here we go.
No, and after hearing you go through it a little bit more in that last segment, I don't think we're really that far apart. I am concerned. I think there's all these nodes that could start connecting, especially like you said, with the growing relationship between Iran and Russia, and then China basically propping up both economies by buying oil from them and weapons transfers between them all. There is this connecting starting to happen, and so it could happen. But I think oftentimes people confuse a big war for a world war. We had Vietnam, we had Korea, we had Desert Storm. Those are huge wars. That doesn't necessarily constitute a world war, but World War III, like Jeremy said, it's good for title.
Thanks for saying my name. I was getting lost in your eyes, and it brought me back to.
I know.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, it's because he's so white, all you see are his eyes when he's under the spotlight.
Yeah. Well, it was like two glowing orbs. And I heard World War III, then I heard my name.
Yeah, I know. It shocked you back, and you're like, I got to create another title.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to change my. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
So, do you think it would necessitate Russia, China, Iran joining for it to even be considered a global conflict as opposed to more of a regional one?
I think either Russia or China would have to do something more extreme in their peripheries to constitute something like a world war. And I think if, there's an invasion of Taiwan, or Russia were to move past Ukraine into the NATO states, or especially into Western Europe, then we would start seeing major movement and connection that I think would, necessitate us using that phrase.
A lot of pieces would have to fall into place. And I'll be honest, I don't think that Russia really wants to do that right now. I think they have a problem with you. I don't think they want to move. For example, people were fear-mongering that they want to go into Poland. That just seems very unlikely to me.
Yeah.
With Russia. As far as China, they're assholes.
That guy said so.
Yes, he said so. So it could go either way. Well, let me ask you guys this, and I'd love to see people in the comments. What do you think as far as Israel where they are as far as their response. Should they respond? Do they have a right to respond? What level of force is appropriate? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Iranians really miscalculated on this. And I think the Israelis have found themselves in a very existential position since October 7th, and everything has changed since then. And I think they realized they could no longer kind of piecemeal together this defense. But Iran launching this attack, I think it is going to give Israel just enough cover that it needed to go in. And if I were them, I would go in and knock out every single piece of installation or brain trust, whatever, linked to Iran's nuclear program.
Their nuclear capabilities.
Because everyone's making this comment. They're like, what is Israel? Well, I guess what the Iranians said, we achieved what we wanted. It's done and over. And Biden's like, a win is a win, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
In the short term, I think objectively, if Israel does nothing, it probably is a more stable region.
Right.
But I also think long term, all that does is give Iran more time to pump up its nuclear capabilities for Hezbollah and Hamas to regroup. And I think you're just kind of kicking the carton down the road.
Yeah.
Because eventually these groups do not want Israel to exist.
Right.
So it is within Israel's interest to get rid of that capability, because Iran already can enrich enough uranium to have weapons-grade uranium for a nuclear weapon within a week.
Right.
Thanks to Biden's awesome policies.
Well, Barack Obama's the one who started it. Yeah.
Obama, messed up on a lot.
He did. He messed up on a lot. We have 8, 4, and 3 now, and you see a continuation of Obama's policies, and you see how Iran behaved very differently. Not only Iran, but think about this. Under Donald Trump, everyone said he's unstable. That was the big thing. With Donald Trump, you're going to get World War III. Yeah. Russia didn't make any movement when Donald Trump was president. They did under Barack Obama's administration. They did under Biden. Think about Iran didn't start acting up. Even North Korea kind of slowed down. They're always firing off some Roman candles or shit. But aside from that, they really sort of they tried to Eddie Haskell it a little bit and play nice, or at least appear to be playing nice. We really did have more stability internationally.
China was quiet.
China, yeah. Why? Because basically said, well, we're gonna go after your economy with China. And then in 3 years, I don't think we've seen this number, I could be wrong, of new conflicts since the immediate sort of post 9/11 era.
Yeah, even the people that are not fear mongers in this situation will say this is the most unstable time on the globe since World War II.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many major powers with major capabilities starting to feel ambitious because they don't feel any sort of a threat, especially from the United States.
The problem is Israel's going to have an optics problem, right? I mean, if a single innocent person is harmed, people are going to use that as an excuse to say, see, Israel it's not commensurate with what happened. No one was hurt. Well, it doesn't matter that no one was hurt. What was that?
To be fair, it hasn't stopped them yet.
Right. It hasn't stopped them yet, but I mean, really, if you want to say to be sort of commensurate with Hamas, they'd have to rape and decapitate old men and women and children, right? They would have to do that. It's different from a war. So here, it's like, well, the fact that they were able to defend themselves because they've invested in defending their people rather than constantly attacking other people, unlike Iran, unlike Hamas, unlike Hezbollah, can't be counted as a demerit against them, but they'll have an optics problem because I think a big reason is they're able to be so specific, right? They're able to be so detailed, so targeted with their defense. So people apply that and say, well, you should be able to do that if you're going after targets in Iran. That's not the same thing as protecting your own country. They need to be very targeted, go after, like you said, nuclear facilities, military bases where they are insured, or as close as they can possibly get to mitigating, civilian lives lost. If they do that, maybe that'll kind of wouldn't put an end to it, but maybe people wouldn't be so rabidly anti-Israel. They can't
do anything.
No, you don't think they can do anything?
No, because I get it. Everything you're saying is right, but they're already in one war. Right. And starting another one isn't, like you said, optically, it doesn't look great. I'm not saying they don't have a right to, and I'm not saying that I'm just saying you kind of got one war going on right now. I think it was just saber rattling this back and forth. Now, if Iran does if it launches another attack, okay, fine. Right. But I think most people see this as, people who aren't emotionally attached to one side or the other see this as, oh, this is another, hey, clear out this military base, we're going to bomb it, so our people, feel like we're doing something good. This kind of thing happens all the time. If they do it again or there's another escalation, okay, fine. But I'm not saying it's right. I just mean.
No, I agree with you. It's just interesting, like the verbiage that people use. Like, if Israel starts a war, it's like, well, hold on a second. The people who launch the drones and missiles, isn't that kind of an act of war?
That's what they said.
Even if it's an ineffective one.
And they say it's, but then they say it's because Israel attacked first. That's what they say.
Syria.
Because of the consulate in Syria. That's what they'll come back to.
Right.
But sorry, Josh.
No, that's pretty much. I mean, they'll come back to that and then launch the missiles, tell you they're going to launch them, give you adequate time to shoot them down, and then say you're the aggressor.
Right.
And that you're the because you're on top.
Yeah.
You killed their 7 people. You took out their consulate. They tried to fire back. They couldn't. Now you're the winner. You're the oppressor.
Right.
Easy peasy to spin that.
Right. It's the victim hierarchy.
Yes.
It's just like domestic politics translated on the international stage. But the one thing I will say is if people are paying a little bit closer attention, is that Israel's starting to get a couple propaganda wins behind the scenes that aren't really being reported because I guess the anti-American left and sort of that anti-Semitic hard right, that horseshoe that's starting to meet up at the top, are very loud and very rewarded by the Twitter algorithm. Mm-hmm. But within the last week, Hamas has had to revise the death count down by 10,000 civilians. Mm-hmm. That kind of got lost. And also with this war, it would be starting a new war, kind of, but really Iran's the one that supported this whole war in the first place. So
that just came from a Saudi source. I don't know if they can bring it mission control, where it was reported that Iran actually helped orchestrate and fund the October 7th attacks.
Yeah, it was a member of the Saudi royal family giving an interview to Israeli media that said they blamed them for the state sponsor of terrorism, and they basically insinuated that Saudi Arabia and Israel were very, very close to normalization, and the Iranians don't want that because they want to frame this as an Islamic versus Jewish thing, and it's really not that. Most of the Arab world doesn't really care about the revolution ideas that Iran wants to export. They want a good economy.
Right.
And being friendly with Israel is a lot better than being friendly with Iran when it comes to that.
Yeah. No, and I don't know if we were able, I know it's just sort of being reported on, but it was it was actually someone who seems authoritative on the source.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean his information is correct, but it's interesting to hear that.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does make sense. And this is kind of, think about this. If you were to say, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, Saudi Arabia and Israel, they're going to be saying, are both joining, I guess I don't want to say joining forces, but both sort of in an alliance against Iran.
Yeah.
That would have been something that a lot of people would have said you were crazy.
I would have.
Yeah, and I think what even supports that claim from the Saudi royal family is that it's now pretty well understood that the Saudis helped shoot down a lot of these projectiles coming from Iran towards Israeli airspace.
Yeah.
Why would a bunch of Muslims support these Zionist, pigs if it was really about a struggle between ideologies?
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. Lane, how does this affect the election here in the United States? Do you think it has any impact?
Oh, yeah. I feel like Joe Biden is royally screwed on this.
That's what I thought, too.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think there is a win that he could have taken in this. As soon as Iran decided to do what they were going to do, that's why he's like, please just don't make it too bad.
Yeah, yes.
Papa, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else are we going to what kind of threats did he have to level against them?
Yeah.
If he's too strong supporting Israel, well, then he loses the entire state of Michigan.
Right.
And that's going to be the most important state for him. He's boned.
Well, you know what else I think? Here's what I think he will do. He's going to parrot this. He's not creative enough. The DNC is not creative enough. They're going to come back out and say, and look what's going on right now. You don't want to put an unstable man in the White House when this is going on. You need a firm hand on your 6-year-old.
Oh.
Pedophile.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how the media spins this to some kind of Trump
mega
Iran
extremists
collusion.
Well, I did notice CNN this morning, they were covering Donald Trump's, the New York case far more than Iran, which surprised me because everyone is talking. It's still the top trend everywhere. And they're like, Donald Trump may have paid hush money to a porn star who said they never had sex.
Criminal trial starting now.
Whose previous lawyer went to prison.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Avenatti is speaking of all-time favorites, I have a running list of TDS people, and Avenatti, the where you are on the list is how bad your TDS cost you.
Right.
Avenatti, I think, is number one.
Is he number one?
I think he went to prison.
I think he just came out, and I think he actually was supportive of Donald Trump. This kind of justice is wrong, and people are like, what, Avenatti? What's happening? It's just
he got raped.
He probably did. Maybe they raped some sense into him.
Yeah.
Oh. Tim likes that.
Yeah,
That excites Tim.
But I like when Avenatti gets raped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
What are we? We're not animals.
Yeah. I'm not doing it.
No, you're not doing it.
No, other people.
No,
You're
exactly.
just enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's you're living vicariously through the rapist.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
We're not living vicariously.
That's where we're going.
Yeah, I think that's where we're Okay. The point is, the fallout is good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, the end
one of the
result's
things that I like to, and Jeremy was kind of hinting at this earlier, that I love to see from this is Trump's response to this.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Avenatti raped, but yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
There's plenty of good to go around. So let's
Lessons to be learned in everything.
let's talk about your thing.
No, I just don't like. I don't have much to say on rape. Besides, I'm not a huge fan.
No, not a huge fan.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes.
Well, yeah. Well,
Don't
clip that.
Don't. I'm just saying sometimes.
Use the Biden. Don't.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's kind of like when my dad caught me smoking a cigarette and made me smoke a whole pack of cigarettes.
You just started.
And Avenatti getting raped.
Gonna smoke a whole pack of dudes?
No. My point is, he screwed the country.
Yeah.
And so now he has to deal with a whole pack of cigarettes.
That's true.
We go to Rumble and it's immediately.
It's immediately about rape. That's not usually the case.
Prison rape.
It's not.
There's usually a nice 5-minute buffer.
I think it's
Yeah,
behavior,
jeez.
Of course, all rape is bad. All rape,
Yes,
even if it's Avenatti, it's bad.
Hitler bad.
Yes, Hitler bad. All right, sorry.
He
go ahead.
also drank water.
Yes, he did. He too did.
Just like me.
Yeah, I know. Point is, not everything he did was bad. Yes, but he is bad. You were about to say something before he went off on the.
Well, since we have Jeremy
righteous
here
rape.
and he's so plugged into the internet culture, I kind of wanted to get his take on this because
love it.
one of the things that I really loved seeing was Trump's response to this because it was so pro-Israel in the sense of this would have never happened under my watch because I was tough on Iran and stood strong with Israel. And then his first truth after the attack was America stands with Israel. And just to kind of see that, I like to call him the grifter right or the woke right, who is really just trying to get clicks and doesn't have anything to do with conservatism.
Right.
A lot of them are quite anti-Semitic.
Some of them are.
I'm not saying right influencers writ large at all.
No. And to be clear, my position is, and I don't know if it's your position, but my position is morally, Israel deserves our support as far as they have the right to defend themselves in as full-throated a way as humanly possible. And we don't need to be sending a dime there. I don't think that's anti-Semitic. But I think what you're talking about is like actual people
I feel
going
like you can hold both those positions and not be anti-Semitic at all.
Right, exactly. And we're not referring to them. We're referring to people who are like, the Jews want you to think that they don't drink Christian blood.
I'm just asking questions.
Right.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, like Jesse.
I'm just asking questions, tough guy. Why don't you tell me about the wringing out of baby kidneys for Christian blood?
What?
Yeah, thanks for serving your country. I was in an underwater demolitions unit. Hate the Jews.
Yeah, not that.
Hates Jews.
Like to see these grifters try to have this cognitive dissonance between how do I support Trump full-heartedly and also hate the Jews when Trump has been the strongest friend to Israel that America's ever known.
Right.
And all of a sudden you see their heads exploding in real time, and it's them and the woke left people they're so similar.
Well, they play a lot of identity politics.
It is identity politics.
Yeah, they play a lot of identity politics on both sides. Like, America, yeah. And if someone just waves a flag, sometimes people go, oh, I want to support that product. And you find out that it's just a bunch of American leftists who've decided to sell patriotism. And that's another form of identity politics. It's don't be American by American, be American by the best. Look at these issues and say what is actually in line with American ideals and values, not because someone says, I like drinking, Budweiser, whatever it is. But what do you see there? Because you're obviously plugged into internet culture. Do you see that kind of meeting at the tips?
Well, Trump took two optic hits, I think, not just with a group of his supporters. First of all, the Israel stuff, but second of all, his stance on abortion. In this past week or two, people viewed it as he was soft on it. I personally don't care if it goes to a state level thing. It doesn't offend me.
Right.
But I know that some people wanted him to be stronger on abortion. This is a fallout of the Roe v. Wade thing. Now it's going to be on the ballot, and every Republican going forward is going to have to deal with this. So he's got to figure out how to go around that. The Jews TM bad crowd does exist, and I think that they're louder now, obviously, based on the things that he said. But Trump has always supported Israel.
Yes.
So this is not new. I don't think he's losing votes over that. The abortion issue, maybe, but even that, I don't think he's losing votes. So I think,
I don't think he's losing. I mean, again, if you were to lose votes, it would be people who are into identity politics going, like, look, I'm very clear. I would love to see a federal ban on abortion, and I'm as extreme as people would say I'm an extremist. I don't believe. I know what you're, but the exceptions for rape and incest just end up opening the door to all abortions. This is where I line up. I do think that it's either murder in the state of Wisconsin or in the state of California. However, it's just not the world we live in. And so the fact that it's going to the states, that is something that then is obviously under the constitutional authority. It's an argument that was made. It's an argument that was won. And there needs to be acceptance of that win. If you're saying that Donald Trump needs to go out and say federal ban, well, he can't do it. So why go out and you're basically demanding that he make an empty promise at that point.
Right.
But he didn't word it very.
People didn't like it. I'm just speaking on. So I'm clear. I'm just speaking on the.
Yes.
I'm terminally online. This is what I see. So people criticize that, and I think just as bad of an L that Biden is taking with this conflict, Trump did well in saying like, hey, this would happen. I think that's a more important part of his message. So.
I think that was my major thought with this was people will. Even the people who believed we were going to have World War III, right? People, this is one universal language, and I've said this before. Because a lot of people will say, oh, if I need a God to tell me not to murder a flying spaghetti monster, I must be a horrible person. Okay. Some cultures, actually, killing is okay. In many cultures, stealing is okay. You saw that in Native American culture because they didn't have a concept of personal property. Across all cultures, really since the beginning of time, and you want to get someone angry and on your side, universally, people hate having the wool pulled over their eyes. People hate being scammed, being tricked, being lied to. And so I think people will remember, wait, I bought the false bill of goods, Donald Trump, World War III. And seeing this, they're going to go, wait a second, none of this happened under Trump's watch. And I'm not saying it would force them to pull the lever for Trump, but I think at the very least it removes that argument from the left going into this election, which I think was a big part of you had Republicans going, I am worried. This guy has no international experience, no foreign policy experience. We could find ourselves in the middle of a conflict. And I think now that's been kind of put to bed.
Did you see the clip of Biden resurface literally saying Trump's going to lead us to war with Iran? Like that resurface and like
mission control, bring that up.
As he leads it.
It was so great. And like all of this chaos is terrible for the people who are caught in the crossfire.
Of course.
But I mean, it's all great for Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, I think it's galvanizing people like me who are really America first and America only. Like, I just don't want to be involved at all.
Right.
I don't want to be, people say, Israel has a right to defend themselves. Cool. They should do that.
Right.
We should deal with the invasion going on our own southern border. We should deal with our opioid crisis, which is costing us 100,000 American lives every year. These are things that I care about, and I hope that all these foreign conflicts, I think that's awakening a sense of, hey, what's going on in Philadelphia? Where, like, people are walking zombies. And
and I'm really glad I got the chance to ask you this question because I like your shows and I value them a lot, but I think we do disagree on that America first, which I am America first, not America only.
Sure.
And I think and I want to know your opinion on this. When you bring up something like the opioid crisis, we need to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is directly influenced by something happening on the other side of the Pacific Ocean intentionally. Mm-hmm. So I think if we completely retrench ourselves, we actually lose the ability to protect American prosperity.
That's fair.
I think we need to be more guided. I don't think we need to get in every conflict that exists, like
no, I agree.
Iraq, but something like Israel is important to an extent, but something like China is much more important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think, where the neocons kind of ruin it for everybody is like it's America's job to be the world police.
Right.
No, it's America's job to police the world where it's in the interest of American prosperity at home.
Right.
And I think that needs to be a better articulated message by the people that advocate for foreign aid and stuff like that.
No, I think you're right. And I don't think you two are that far apart. For example, if it is in America's best interest, that's where
we're going to fight after the show.
Yes.
But nice. No, I agree. And I would support. So, yeah, I think that's a fair distinction. And I would support. Let's say we have the fentanyl crisis. We are pretty sure where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And I would support doing something to stop that.
And I think the first thing that you need to do is plug the leak, right? If you're in a hole that's sinking, plug that hole, and that's the border, right?
Yeah,
that needs to be done. I think that needs to be done first. Like you even said this, and by the way, you would be seen as, I wouldn't even say resident moderate, but you even said like you would vote for the devil himself if he closed our border.
Yeah, if Bernie's election plan was I'm going to close the border and deport all the illegals, I'd be like, okay, you've got my vote.
Yeah.
Because nothing, like Jeremy said, nothing else can really happen until that first, until the first principle is taken care of.
I think you're right. And I think, the closed-handed issues used to be, obviously, for Christian evangelicals, abortion. And it is for me. I can't vote for a pro-abortion candidate, to be clear. I understand that there's a spectrum of people on the right where they have different sort of definitions or limitations. But I could not vote. I would not be able to, in clear conscience, vote for a pro-abortion candidate. That's a closed-handed issue. The Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and I would add to that now, and I think a lot of Americans, as you're seeing through the polls, I would add immigration, securing our border. That's a closed-handed issue for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hey, we have that Biden clip.
Do we have that Biden clip?
Yeah.
All right, let's.
And then after that, if you
I hope it's everything I built it up to
clip,
be.
Yeah.
I'm only kind of remembering it.
All right, let's see. Oh, wait, we got to get the sound going one second.
Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter, let's close in on this man. I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
And then he said, and he wants to put you all back in chains.
Whatever happened to those? Remember they were going to have all those gay concentration camps?
Yes.
When Trump.
Yeah.
Where are they? In Texas?
No,
I haven't seen.
They
any.
closed them. They all worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't need them anymore.
Well, I mean, I guess unless the AIDS clinics in the Bay Area.
Hey, speaking of, on your point earlier, I think we might be passing that, but on your point earlier about pulling the wool over people's eyes and deception and stuff, we have the Michael Avenatti quote backing Trump.
Oh, okay. Can you read it for me?
Basta.
Or someone read it for me.
Yeah,
Or, okay, I can read it. Okay. What he says, is he saying one of two?
Two tweets.
The fix is in. Never before has there been a high-profile criminal case in America where a prosecutor, Bragg, permitted and likely encouraged two critical witnesses, Cohen and Daniels, to use the media in the days leading up to a trial to trash a gagged defendant, Trump, and violate his right to a fair trial. Yeah, he was definitely raped. And to my friends on the left who insist they want to, quote, preserve democracy and justice, you should be equally outraged by this. Constitutional protections either exist for all, including Trump, or they don't exist for any. What is happening in the hush money case is a travesty.
That's more of a guy, I think, who I believe he was tried in New York as well. And that may be a beef with the legal system.
Maybe a beef with the legal system.
Not necessarily supporting Trump.
Yeah, you're right. Two things can be true. Yeah. But he was also sexually accosted, at the very least. Got groped in prison. And you know what? Maybe they groped some sense into him.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.